ladies and gentlemen, and the men of the press. Today we are gathered here to have a press conference on the challenges of peace and unity. I will want to give a few lines of some of the challenges we face as a nation. It is an attempt to examine the perennial incidence of ethno-religious crisis in Nigeria, which is ever on the increase, claiming lives of hundreds of people daily. Destruction of properties worth billions of naira. These colossal losses to violent religious conflicts in Nigeria did not end with loss of lives and properties. In fact, its attendant effects on peaceful coexistence, political stability, and socio-economic development is beyond comprehension. Hardly can one speak of progress in Nigeria when our social, political, economic, and religious systems fail to maintain at least minimum level of social decorum. At the same time, sustainable and lasting religious peace across the nation have been aborted times without number. Owing to the recurrent crisis of religious conflicts, as those religious conflicts linger on, distrust and suspicion became the order of the day, more especially between the inherence of Islam and Christianity in Nigeria. Though there are records of occasional conflicts between African traditional religion and other religions for a number of reasons. This may include superiority complex, that is, claim of superiority by both Islamic and Christianity over the African traditional religion and culture. Disregard and contempt for African traditional religion and institutions. OCHA Initiative for Peace and Unity in Nigeria recommended, among other things, that conscious efforts should be made by government and adherents of Islam and Christianity in Nigeria to build bridges of religious understanding and religious respect. This is an area where the insecurity and our peace, which has been facing challenges, has affected our economic development. Foreign direct investment, FDI, plays a major role in the economic development of emerging markets. This is important because FDI provides capital to finance domestic projects as well as expertise to undertake such projects. The competition for getting FDI inflow has become stiffer as both advanced countries and developing countries are still showing growing interest in attracting FDI. The importance of FDI to a developing country or less developed country has been emphasized by different people. This has to do with its role of improved technology, efficiency, and productivity that can promote economic growth. Be that it may, the potential contribution of FDIs depends strictly on circumstances in the recipient country. Certain conditions of the host country are necessary to facilitate the spillover effects. The extent to which FDI contributes to growth depends on the economic and social conditions of a country. This refers to the quality of environment of the recipient country. Investors hold a view that political stability in the host country is important in considering their choice of investment and location, and deciding the amount and volume of investment in that country. Political instability and social unrest have negative effect on FDI inflows, as insecurity in any form reduces the chances of a country being selected as an investment location. This social unrest and political instability can also dictate the patterns of investment within the host country. The patterns can reflect as spread across the host country or cluster of investment in a particular area. This also depends on the nature of the geographical environment and how conducive the various investment locations within the country. Insecurity. Insecurity constitutes all forms of violent activities in a country. This could be political, economic, or social violence, as long as such actions disrupt the peace and stability of the society, thereby altering the normal order living of the people. In addition, it is total breakdown of law and order in a country, which alters the normal course of life of the people and even that of the government, resulting in social disorder. Wanton destruction of lives and property. Insecurity in Nigeria has to do with various situations of social unrest or violent uprisings in the country. It also concerns how these have impacted on the social, economic, political development of this nation. Nigeria, since independence, has witnessed series of social and violent unrest at different times and in different forms. Some are economic-based, political, and offshoot of ethnic and religious crises. This was the main situation where some of these things are pertinent in some regions. In Kano, Maiduguri in the early 80s, Jimita Yola religious disturbances in 1984, Zango, Kataf, Balumkuti, Christian-Muslim riots, just to mention a few. These are offshoots of primary causes of insecurity in the country, such as poverty, inequality, unemployment, illiteracy, deprivation, corruption, religious manipulation, and others. There's part of ethno-religious conflicts, social, economic, and political violence in Nigeria has increased with return to civil rule in 1999. The frequency of such occurrences is as a result of freedom provided under the democratic rule. A major concern is the increase in sophistication of weapons and attacks on the people, leading to destruction of lives and property, of which have heightened the insecurity situation of the country. There has been militancy in the Niger Delta region, ethnic violence, and Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast region. In addition, the Boko Haram group has transformed in size, nature, and modes of operation from one time to the other. It has developed from Islamic organization to jihadist terror groups and lately become insurgents. They take over towns for themselves and set their flag as symbol of authority over the areas captured to question the authority of the legitimate government of the country. We have also other factions of insecurity groups as unknown gunmen in the southeast of the country, which is about to establish their own type of control when we have a sit at home for some days or weeks. Of major concern in the increase in sophistication of weapons and attacks in the people, leading to destruction of lives, the federal government is still working or not working hard to put the peace of this country and the security of this country in order. This would translate to high cost of risk management, increased spending on security in terms of diversion of scarce capital for the procurement of high-tech equipment for the purpose of combating insecurity. The primary objective of every investor is to maximize profit, and this may not be achievable if such capital is invested in to ensure safety of lives and property. The role played by OCHA Initiative to achieve peace and unity in Nigeria. OCHA Initiative for Peace and Unity tirelessly work in the field, providing humanitarian relief, conflict resolution, and development assistance in post-terror areas. As we carry out work, we face many serious problems. Insurgencies often deny us access to these areas. Terrorist groups demand payoffs, and local violence threatens the safety and even the lives of field personnel and volunteers. Donors also subject these NGOs in Nigeria to political pressure, diminishing their neutrality. Non-governmental organizations face a lot of challenges in the of their duties, often caused by insurgent activities. OCHA Initiative for Peace and Unity are involved in sensitization among people on religious tolerance and the importance of peaceful coexistence in developing our communities in Nigeria. The economic effect of what we have faced in Nigeria, which could be channeled towards the government inability to provide the enabling environment, could only be said to have increased from what we can see today as inflation. Our country is gradually going into hyperinflation, following what Zimbabwe had some few years ago, when a wheelbarrow of money could only purchase a loaf of bread. So on this note, we want to ask the government to create the enabling environment without using politics as a weapon, as a tool to create a division in our country. Whilst we are still working with some NGOs that partners with government, we are still hoping that one day our peace and unity will be celebrated. Thank you. God bless you. It could be a suggestion to government and the citizens. I would, first and foremost, the political institution of this country is in a crisis. Number one, if we have the right formula of electing our leaders, doing the right thing, because with the level of poverty in Nigeria today, which probably was created by the political class, there is every tendency of somebody dying for 100 naira or 200 naira. So if all these things are put into control, if the government has created an enabling environment where students, school leavers find something doing, occupy their busy times, occupy their idle times, there wouldn't be any need for collecting money to fight for a politician. But when they have created this monster of hardship, so the people who are looking for something to feed their family with, left with no option than to collect money and fight. So the whole thing goes down to the government. This thing happened before the last general election. If we have a system where somebody you vote according to INEC, you vote your vote reflects in the central server, there wouldn't be need. There will not be any need for anybody trying to manipulate election, and there won't be any need to spend money. You will, whatever you sow is what you get. If you are somebody who has sown a good seed in the society, during the election, you will reap what you have sown. That is my take on that.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Johnson from One Voice Africa TV.
You see, the situation we have in Nigeria today looks like there is no direction. And that is what we saw and felt that there is need for us to come in and begin to sensitize the people, begin to educate the people on the right thing to do for us to live in a one country. As much as me and you know that not everybody that bears our passport is a Nigerian, is a true Nigerian. A true Nigerian, in my own dictionary, is somebody who talks for the country, who does good for the country. And for people who are yearning or who are queuing up to join the cause, it's not an easy thing to do because it requires you time, it requires you commitment, it requires you to show your patriotism. Because one of the things that disturbs our journey to our destination as a country is if you are going to a place you have put your mind in one direction, somebody use small thing to distract you, you change your mind. If we are focused, determined, speak to the government, and begin to say no, decline from certain offers the government will give indirectly to keep us in the perpetual hardship, that will go a long way in making sure that most people will now begin to look at a system that works. For me, some of our members across the country face challenges, and those challenges are only carried by this organization. The government is not part of it, but we keep encouraging them to work hard, to encourage people to campaign for peace and unity of the country.